looking at the religious right, now is used as a place to put technology and to stay and to hide, just not to disturb the phenomena that we study. So this is our motivation of being here. So we have several other rooms, and is good also for chamber music, and anyway of course for small ensembles. We did studies on string quartets, also orchestra sections, and various. Also we did dance projects here in order to study and do preparatory studies with having for a long-term space, a space where to study and develop, for example, develop techniques to measure the relation between artists.
A wonderful place. It's important to start thinking specifically about local spaces, because our work is context related. The body is part of a relation to a space, an emergent relation. The architecture will be placed in specific places, not in neutral, abstract, Cartesian spaces. So we have to start thinking where, in which city we want to in the future place the architecture, why, for what reasons. So hopefully in coming forums we can devote some time to exploring parts of the city and see why, where we could intervene, for what reasons. Of course, it would demand a larger previous work with local people, and we can't do that in one day.
Make me legible in order we can discuss, because these are my questions, but I'm also very, very interested in your questions, because I'm sure that our questions are very different. But perhaps I thought more not in my case study, but in how we can have a dialogue from so many different disciplines to talk about the meta study and and to do things. So to have a discussion. So maybe we can talk about that tomorrow afternoon and later.
So I will try to be a bit more specific now. The background for this, and which is part of what I've been doing recently, is in these disciplines called software studies, critical code studies, and the cultural studies of digital media technologies. So people who have done this in the past, Catherine Hayes, who was with us in Madrid, but also there are lots of other people doing this. Mark Marino does critical code studies, Len Manovich, Matt Fuller. There's a lot of people who have got a background in literature, we say, who treat software, and specifically code, like computer programming, computer programs, like literary texts. Okay, so they learn how to read C or HTML or whatever, and they treat them as texts, and they try to think, okay, what does this mean? How can I find? Well, it depends. They look for gender bias. They look for assumptions related to power. They look at how, but you know, this sounds very critical. But I think personally, we should look for the way in which a certain piece of software and a certain programming language models the world. Yeah, and what are the implications? Because obviously, and I'm speaking to people who are more into technology. But obviously we all know that deciding to work with an object-oriented language is not the same as deciding to work with a sequential language. C++ is not the same as C. And you choose to work on a database is not the same as working with some other kind of software. You know, it models the world in a different way. And the results and the things you can do with a certain software are different according to those choices. But what motivates your choice in the first place?
This reducibility of gesture to emoticons, for example, something that I sometimes refer to in our culture of emotional reductionism, where we are always, most of the time, especially in social networks, for example, we have to align ourselves with emoticons. This kind of reductionist approach is something we would like to challenge here, as we are more and more aligned with atomized interfaces which are reproducing a Renaissance perspective of labor by biometric devices which are capturing bodily data more and more into control networks. So this is a crucial aspect. How is it that the body is actually being more and more put into the forefront of interfaces, biometric networks, devices, but always in terms of reducing it to a set of controllable points. This is a crucial aspect of control society nowadays. So the body is actually becoming more and more in the forefront, but always in terms of reducing it to controllable parameters. Now here in this way we want to do exactly the reverse movement. How is it that we can generate an understanding of the body and its movement as irreducible to controllable points?
Something the speed, the energy, the impulsivity, the fluidity, some lab-related parameters, and use this for both possible audio, so you can create an overlay, so there's some superposition of audio, sound channels that remains as a memory of what you have done, and the superposition also visual effects on each of these. Want to try again? So try again. There should be more angry because we were sad. Sad means for the body contraction, low energy, so something head going down, so acceleration of osmosis toward the low forearms and part of the body, the shoulders. And now there is impulsivity, just you were so angry. So there is a machine learning system in Iceland behind this that analyzes the vector
boundary of the swarm. So then you can see it's not going outside of the box, and then when you raise your right hand or raise your left hand, you will see that it will attract to the points. So and then give it to having different display modes. So this one is the mode of tail.